both had our struggles because there's no textbook way to be a good parent.
It's a timeless story, but it's always relevant.
And Chloe took that challenge because she worked with Sigourney in that movie.
There's a bomb under the Vatican.
I need my number one bull elephant heading this mission.
On it.
Damn.
On the film, obviously it's been, a few years since the last one. So I guess, Chloe, first of all, for you, how much would you say Sophie has changed in the few years since we last saw her?
So much. I think high school is a completely different world. It's weird because, in the first movie, she had no friends. She was bullied, actually. And it's cool because in the second one, we get kids and she has friends, and that's really exciting. But also her whole world is changing, especially her relationship with JJ, where she's really yearning for this independence, and she has this sense of, I don't really need him anymore. I know everything, which a lot of teenagers feel and will be very relatable for a lot of families, and kind of how she navigates this new world while also dealing with saving the world at the same time. So it's a really fun ride.
Yeah, and Dave, I was interested that you kind of said in the production notes for the film how, on the one hand, it's a coming of age film for kids, but it's also a coming of age film for dads. So I wondered, how is that kind of represented in JJ's journey in this film?
I think that's, Ken and I were talking about it earlier, and we're both dads, and we, have both had our struggles because there's no textbook way to be a good parent. So it's really trying to figure it out, and it varies from family to family, person to person, from child to child, and it's really trying to be that that good influence, but also trying to be the disciplinarian. And it's just it's a fine balance that you're really struggling to, and doubting yourself and questioning yourself and wondering if you're doing the right thing. And hoping and praying that you are. So it's really the subject matter is great, but I think a lot of people are going to be able to watch this film and have a lot of laughs, but also be able to relate, and also being kind of emotionally invested in this film, because it's a story that it will never get old. It's hard being a teenager. It's hard being a parent. It's hard being a parent to a teenager.
Well said.
And Ken, did you enjoy that we got to see this side of David as well in this film, but kind of slightly expanded from the first one?
Oh, yes. I mean, just to see, I love watching their relationship deepen and evolve, and you can tell JJ really wants to be the dad, and Sophie really wants to grow up, and they're at odds with that, and it's so real and relatable as a father watching it. It's so authentic, and then having my own character explore his relationship with his son, and almost mimicking what they're going through, mirroring what they're going through. It really is. It's exactly what he said. It's a timeless story, but it's always relevant.
And Chloe, I wanted to ask, because I was amazed kind of reading the lists of the things you learned for this film, from scuba diving and skydiving and all these incredible things, martial arts as well. What was your kind of favorite aspect of that learning process, and maybe the most challenging as well?
I think definitely the martial arts, because I think that is something that you can use everywhere, especially in the world of acting. And I think it was such a fun journey to go from day one, not even being able to pick up my leg and do a kick, and then just progressing every day. You really have to be patient, and I think I've learned my own personal lessons from it, but also just develop this skill that I hope to use more in the future in film and acting.
The first film, when it came out, it had, I guess, quite a complicated release with COVID, and then it found this kind of, I guess, this new home on streaming. How exciting was that for you when, after all that kind of drama, there was this audience for the film on streaming?
We were originally a theatrical release for the first movie, and we were coming out on March 13th, 2020, which was ironically the day the world shut down for the pandemic. So we opened in 17 countries on Friday, and we closed in 17 countries on Saturday. And we thought we were dead. We did not think the movie was going to see the light of day. But then people realized that they could not live by Tiger King and Ozark alone. And so they needed product. And there was a bidding war for us. And we were the product of just perfect timing, that we were a family movie while families were trapped in their homes. So it led us here 4 years later.
And when you were asked, do you want to do a second film, did the story for this second film kind of come to you quite soon? Were there a few different possibilities that you explored first?
Yeah, I had really no idea what the story would be for this second one. But then I started thinking about it, that Chloe was now a teenager. So Sophie's story would be different. She'd be, a freshman in high school. And I thought, well, I was just a choir for the local high school. I was a chaperone for the choir. And I thought, wow, the experiences that my wife and I endured on an exact same trip to Italy, starting in Venice, then going to Florence and then Rome, singing before the Pope. I said, well, what if we set this new story against that? And that's when it really clicked for me. It felt like I knew where we were going, emotionally. And once I knew that and knew that Sophie was going to, have a crush on basically Ken Jeong's son, and the possibility that Dave and Ken's character could one day become, in-laws potentially, I thought that felt pretty comedically rich.
Did you enjoy getting the chance to get this cast back together, and especially Dave and Chloe, and watch their dynamic grow? How exciting was that for you to see them, obviously Chloe a bit older now, and see the continuation of that dynamic?
Well, we had such a good time on the first one, and they're not always enjoyable experiences making a movie. They're very hard, but we all looked forward to it, and I think Chloe really looked forward to training and not just having a stunt person do this, but she trained for 8 months before we even began filming martial arts with a very prolific martial arts trainer, and she really wanted to do as many of the stunts as she possibly could without having a stunt person replace her, and that made it a fun challenge for her. She knew that Dave is obviously an athlete and was going to handle all of his action mostly himself, and she wanted to rise to that challenge and do it too. And so it was even down to the underwater scenes, she wanted to do it herself, and she took underwater breathing training, and because she was in the recent Avatar, and a lot of those actresses, Sigourney Weaver, I read could hold her breath for like 6 minutes when she was doing her underwater training, and Chloe took that challenge because she worked with Sigourney in that movie, and so she said, I want to do that too. I want to be able to be down there as long as I can. And so it was really infectious.
And I wanted to ask a bit about locations as well, because I understand, although you did go to Italy for some of it, a lot of that was in Cape Town, and you're kind of bringing the Vatican to Cape Town in a way. How much of a challenge was that logistically in terms of getting the kind of sets and the green screen and all that kind of stuff?
We hired a fantastic visual effects supervisor, Sheena Duggal, who I've worked with over the years many times. She's done a lot of Marvel stuff, and we were not allowed to shoot in Vatican City. So if you're inside the Basilica, no. And if you're inside St. Peter's Square, no. And we had a lot of scenes that we were shooting there. So that was all digital, and we had to build enormous sets in Cape Town with massive green screen walls to facilitate that stuff. A lot of the rest of it, we actually were there in Rome, just outside Vatican City, down the street with the Basilica in the background, Vatican in the background. And but I'd say without a doubt, the challenges were what we were not allowed to do and how we were going to pull that off realistically.